My name is Miss McGowen, and I am going to do a presentation for you, a book talk on Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It is by Lewis Carroll. So the overview, the title is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. A lot of times the book also comes with the second story, which is called Through the Looking Glass. So this book here actually has two stories, but I'm talking specifically about the first one, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It is two genres. It is fantasy, and it's also classic. Why did I choose this book? Well, fantasy is my favorite genre, and the great thing about this book is that it's also classic. And the thing about classic novels is they really give you a sense of great writing and great literature. And classic novels also do a lot of references that then become part of pop culture, which is great. So, my summary. Alice is a young girl who is lazily lounging under a tree while her sister reads her a book. All of a sudden, she finds herself following a white rabbit. The plot begins when Alice falls down the rabbit hole. However, as she's falling down the rabbit hole, time seems to go in slow motion, and she's more like floating down the hole. She sees all these crazy items kind of float past her, and then finally, she gets to the bottom, and that is where her adventure actually begins. So in Wonderland, she meets various creatures and various characters that are quite interesting, from cards that are life-size and talk to each other to a cat that appears and disappears. She also ends up taking potion where she gets really small and can go through a mouse hole, and then different potion where she gets really big and she's bigger than the house. So all of these unusual things are happening to her. So the question is, how will she ever be able to escape Wonderland and return back to her family? So I'm going to read you a passage from chapter 6, which is called Pig and Pepper. So Alice has just gotten this baby, which then turns out to be a pig, and she's let the little pig go and it runs away. So she let the little creature down and felt quite relieved to see it trot away quietly into the wood. If it had grown up, she said to herself, it would have made a dreadfully ugly child. But it makes a rather handsome pig, I think. And she began thinking over other children she knew, who might do very well as pigs, and was just saying to herself, if one only knew the right way to change them, when she was a little startled by seeing the Cheshire Cat on a bough of a tree a few yards away. The cat only grinned when it saw Alice. It looked good-natured, she thought. Still, it had very long claws and a great many teeth. So she felt that it ought to be treated with respect. Cheshire Puss? She began rather timidly, as she did not at all know whether it would like the name. However, it only grinned a little wider. Come, it's pleased so far, thought Alice, and she went on. Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here? That depends a good deal on where you want to get to, said the cat. I don't care much where, said Alice. Then it doesn't matter which way you go, said the cat, so long as I get somewhere, Alice added as an explanation. Oh, you're sure to do that, said the cat, if you only walk long enough. Alice felt that this could not be denied, so she tried another question. What sort of people live around here? In that direction, the cat said, waving its right paw around, lives a hatter, and in that direction, waving the other paw, lives a March hare. Visit either you like. They're both mad. But I don't want to go among mad people, Alice remarked. Oh, you can't help that, said the cat. We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad. How do you know I'm mad? Said Alice. You must be, said the cat, or you wouldn't have come here. Alice didn't think that proved it at all. However, she went on, and how do you know that you're mad? To begin with, said the cat, a dog's not mad. You grant that? I suppose so, said Alice. Well then, the cat went on, you see, a dog growls when it's angry and wags its tail when it's pleased. Now, I growl when I'm pleased and wag my tail when I'm angry. Therefore, I'm mad. I call it purring, not growling, said Alice. Call it what you like, said the cat. Do you play croquet with the queen today? I should very much like it, said Alice, but I haven't been invited yet. You'll see me there, said the cat, and vanished. Alice was not much surprised at this. She was getting so well used to queer things happening. While she was still looking at the place where it had been, it suddenly appeared again. "By the by, what became of the baby?" said the cat. "I'd nearly forgotten to ask." "It turned into a pig," Alice answered very quietly, just as if the cat had come back in a natural way. "I thought it would," said the cat, and vanished again. Alice waited a little, half expecting to see it again, but it did not appear, and after a minute or two, she walked on in the direction in which the March Hare was said to live. "I've seen hatters before," she said to herself. "The March Hare will be the most interesting, and perhaps, as this is May, it won't be raving mad, at least not so mad as it was in March." As she said this, she looked up, and there was the cat again, sitting on a branch of a tree. "Did you say pig or fig?" said the cat. "I said pig," said Alice, "and I wish you wouldn't keep appearing and vanishing so suddenly. You make one quite giddy." "All right," said the cat, and this time it vanished quite slowly, beginning with the end of the tail and ending with the grin, which remained some time after the rest of it had gone. "Well, I've often seen a cat without a grin," thought Alice, "but a grin without a cat? It's the most curious thing I ever saw in all my life." So, the reaction. Initially, this book is actually a difficult read. There's a lot of unusual things going on, and you have to just trust that the story will begin to fall into place. There's lots of separate things happening, but overall, the humor of it and the absurdity is actually entertaining. So that's why if you get into it and if you just push through a little bit and continue reading, you'll actually find it to be very interesting and funny, actually. So I would recommend this book to mature readers, and by mature I mean readers who have a great grasp of vocabulary, because there's a lot of interesting vocabulary, as well as readers who like to read play on words. So not necessarily puns, but just plays on words that can kind of give that humor. But overall, if you like fantasy, then you'll like this book as well. So my object, I have pictures of a sculpture. So there is an Alice's Adventures in Wonderland sculpture in New York City, New York, and I've been there many years ago. So here's my pictures. So here, this is the Mad Hatter, also known as the White Rabbit. The whole statue is made of bronze, and so each of the characters are there. Here is the Mad Hatter. So let me just make sure I said that right. Sorry. This is the March Hare, the White Rabbit, and then the next one is the Mad Hatter. Those are the two that she was going to go and see. And then this is the sculpture overall. You can see all of the little characters and all the characters that are in there, from the little mice to the cat, etc. And then there's Alice sitting on top of that mushroom. So you can see the scale. There I am a few years back. It's quite a big statue, and it's really nice. And you can even climb on it, like I did. So I hope that you decide to read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll and enjoy it as much as I have.